Silver Futures is a Hidden Objects Oxford project developed in collaboration with St John's College, Oxford. 2 new site-specific commissions for the college have been created using silver from the melt of damaged collection objects. Commissions have been undertaken by contemporary silversmiths Maria Hansen and Chris Knight and Simone ten Hompel. Silver Futures has been specifically designed to explore contemporary responses to the historical process of melt and reuse of silver.
Right, I'm going to give you a quick video tour of the college. I'm starting off in my office and I'm just walking out. So the front quad is the oldest part of the college. It's square with this beautiful round lawn in the middle. It's my office up there, which we've just come from. It's the oldest part of the college, which was a medieval hall before it was refounded as a college in 1555. So it was the medieval hall of St Bernard. And if we walk forward a little, you can see the chapel over there. That area there is the dining hall. This is the lodge here. And above the lodge, you can see a statue of St John. These are the president's lodgings here. So the president lives on site, right in the heart of the college. We're now moving into the most famous quad of the college, the Canterbury quadrangle. Which, as you can see, is particularly splendid. We have the liberal arts depicted there. King Charles standing there. We're looking straight into the library right now. I don't think anyone realises there's quite this much space here. So this is called the Great Lawn. Incredibly peaceful, lovely, lovely space. It's all beginning to burst into bloom with spring as well. I'm videoing this in early March. And here, packed behind this wall, is the new study centre. And here we're coming to a little secret door out of the garden. And this is the 18th century Holmes building. So this is yet another part of St John's sort of tucked away. I'm going to walk around back into the garden and through the garden and emerge in the back of the college. I hope you're getting a sense of this, of the sheer extent of St John's. Everything is completely deserted at the moment because students are obviously not allowed to be here. Hardly any of my colleagues are here right now. But even in the middle of a busy term, this space tends to be very quiet and meditative. There's the new study centre. There are so many doors. I have a huge bunch of keys like a jailer. It's rather sort of labyrinthine, but it's lovely. It's a big auditorium in there. We go up these steps. You get a sense of the way the garden quad tries to build in the garden into the space. Right, and here we can see the famous eye into the garden. As you mount the steps and peer through it, focuses the eye. I'm not going to carry on down that way because it goes on forever. But there are yet more buildings there that many people who've been here for a very long time don't even seem to know about it. And we're going to walk back into the heart of the college. This is the other entrance to the study centre. So you can see how it's been kind of nestled in the middle of the college. It's nice to see now the grass has come up and the daffodils are coming out, and it has this lovely big open space atrium with the names of the various owners. And the magnificent door, which is unfortunately locked. Yet another quad. This one's called the North Quad. And this is sort of Gothic revival style. And this magnificent tree, which I'm particularly fond of. Chestnut. And then here behind me, one of the most famous buildings at St John's, fondly known by the students as the Beehive, which is built entirely of concrete and rather significant in that respect. Yet another door, mysteriously opening, merging through the car park now and out into the street. So St John's owns most of this. We're now in St Giles, i.e. the kind of main arterial road in Oxford, really. Busy. And then in here, see these nice gates opening in a welcoming way for us. This is the Kendrew Quad. This is yet another building with yet more teaching rooms, seminar rooms, leading to a lovely exhibition space known as the Barn. There we go. And here we are in the Kendrew Quadrangle, which is again a beautiful space kind of tucked behind busy roads with an amazing feeling of calm and tranquility. Here we are, back in the entrance to the college.
We felt it was very important to, I think, encourage the colleges to commission new pieces by recycling their unused or unloved or broken collections. Partly because actually it's a very exciting time in goldsmith and silversmithing. This would be an incredibly rich source, I think, of commission and work for new and exciting silversmiths and makers.
Okay. So it's a kind of Georgian revival dented coffee pot from 1913. Which is perfectly nice, but I don't think it's ever going to be used again, and is not a sort of great artistic design. It's an absolute sort of copy of one from the kind of 1760s, something like that. Yeah.
I mean, I am the curator of sculpture and decorative arts at the Ashmolean Museum, so the last thing I usually want to be doing is destroying old objects. It's something that I don't really do and wouldn't normally advocate. After being in many of the Silver College collections across Oxford and seeing all this unused and battered old silver that it's not historically exciting, and many of it is kind of revival pieces that were made usually in the 20th century in earlier styles, in Georgian styles often, and pieces that it would be too expensive to restore them, and even if they were restored they wouldn't be used by the college.
It's rather nice, that.
So this is a cigar box we're now looking at.
Which is lined in wood, which is getting slightly mouldy.
Oh yes. Does the cigar do that?
No, I think it's just got damp in the basement. So this is 1934, this one. But, again, will never be used again. And it's rather scratched and scuffed. So
there's some grape scissors, which are singularly fairly useless objects and are never used. These date from the 1960s, not something that will ever be sort of missed by the college. And then some 1930s silver, a tea set, all made in 1935 actually, which is interesting because it's got a special hallmark on it for the Silver Jubilee of George V and Queen Mary. So that celebrated that. So it's rather a nice kind of continuum of interest in silver, and this is possibly why they were given to the college. I think perhaps to mark the Silver Jubilee. So there's that connection with silver there. We like to think that we're kind of slightly democratising silver, so we're taking silver from out of the stores. Often this silver was made for quite limited use in the college, often for senior common room members, not for everyone across the college. And the new pieces that are being commissioned actually are going to be on walls in public spaces in the colleges where everybody, all members of the college, can see them or even touch them in some cases, making it more accessible and more exciting to everyone, not just a kind of a limited number of people in the college.
Yes, that's right. It's kind of quite helpful to get a sense.
Really heavy piece.
Do you want to hazard a guess at weight?
Oh God, it might have a scratch weight on the bottom. Let's have a look.
Yeah.
But in dreadful nick. I mean, you know, it's something that's all the inscription is too worn to read, and all the engraved decoration is very worn. So
it's sort of 19th century.
Yeah, Victorian, good mid-Victorian tea tray.
Yeah.
Has obviously been well used over the time because it's been worn, you know, it's sort of...
So it's had good service.
It's had good service, I think, yes.
So when we began the discussions with St John's, we knew that we wanted to show the process of melt. We knew that we would then end up with this billet or brick of silver. And so it was very important to suggest to St John's contemporary silversmiths working in the UK who had a lot of experience of handling metal. Normally as a silversmith, if you purchase silver from a bullion dealer, from somebody who supplies the metal in the trade, you will get given silver sheet from which you then make the object. So there is a stage between the brick and the sheet, which is a sort of refining and rolling process. But because we were trying to really drill in on the process and the qualities of silver as a material, that sort of changing quality, all of that framed the selection of silversmiths that we proposed to St John's. The actual melting of the objects happened in Sheffield. The Goldsmiths Company in London helped with that. We could have just taken the objects to a commercial bullion dealer, somebody who traded in silver in commercial terms. This was a non-traditional process, and we wanted to be able to really emphasise that element. So I did call on the help of Robert Organ, then the assay master at the London Assay Office, to see, they would understand that we were trying to reveal something that is part of their history and their trade. Their help was absolutely necessary. And they also obviously weighed and checked everything. If something is described as silver in the UK, it has to, by law, have a hallmark showing that it's been tested. And of course these pieces are hallmarked for 2022. One will be hallmarked in London, one will be hallmarked in Sheffield. And there is some remaining billet which will be in the collection for educational reference purposes. So it's a new view of silver.
And then we'll sort out how much silver we need to add to remelt it. And a bit more than that.
Because St John's as commissioners have a very strong record of imaginative contemporary commissions, that also was sort of part of the decision making. So, for example, in 1993 they commissioned the modern jeweller, Wendy Ramshaw, to design and make a gate for the Fellows Garden. And that was a complete change of scale, and indeed catalysed an entire new body of work from her. St John's then subsequently commissioned another set of gates 10 years later. So there was all that sort of interesting context here. Maria Hansen trained as a jeweller. Chris Knight, he's a silversmith, but he's also done larger scale commissions, for example, for the Millennium Square outside Sheffield railway station. Simone, with her strong track record of making objects, but objects that really ask questions about our relationship with silver now. And the college were very clear. They didn't want something else for college dining. They felt that it might be interesting to explore a different form or a different context. And the brief was very broad, that this was about the college community's relationship to silver now. In a metaphorical sense, that's sort of reflecting on or being aware of what silver could be in a modern college community. Maria and Chris really explored that. Because one of the properties of silver is it can take a very, very high polish, a reflective surface, and is an ingredient in historic mirrors. With Simone, she was very excited by the possibility of asking questions of the material. The idea of it being something you touched and handled, particularly in a context of something like a museum. Choosing to use the handle as part of the overall design of the piece made sense in a number of ways. She has also punched in Braille a phrase, which of course you need to touch. One is an invitation to look, but look in a slightly different way, and the other is an invitation to touch, and they're both installed permanently into the fabric of space between the original library and the study centre. It's the connecting space. You're travelling from the old to the new, and these pieces, you see them.
Does it need to align here? No. It'll probably be my part, it takes longer to...
Yeah.
Just for a minute or two.
Okay. This one.
Yeah, our opportunity to go in and do what we need to do starts today.
And then I got to go back to the moment when it sounds like you've got a good conference and events guys on the
And then I suddenly,
At 8:20, I went, oh, I just remembered two
It's primarily really just to compress it, because otherwise it was just going to smear all the kind of granulation. There's a bit of crucible or a bit of flux or a bit of steel or whatever, and they've damaged these rollers that cost tens and tens of thousands. It's in quite effective.
reflected and from, just
say, and the same, even this for the rust of it.
It's so easy to find great, and there's a little quote from your essay from the booklet, which I thought it gave a bit of deeper context.
so you need to measure that
Probably get a good
distance.
shot without reflection.
Okay.
It's impossible to completely for everybody. And actually, I think that's a really lovely height, because apart from anything else, your eyes move naturally across to the window and back, and that works
No. So,
and I thought 5 exactly from this to that, 5.
Ollie comes down, between where you were and then, just up a bit more.
We can't really appreciate just how important silver was. When you went for a dinner and the table was laden with silver, or you went for your coffee afterwards and you were served from silver coffee pots or teapots, people would know immediately how much that was worth, and it was reflecting your status and your kind of wealth. And it also showed the appreciation that members of college had for that college when they donated a piece of silver. Young men who came to the Oxford colleges were expected, as part of their time at Oxford, to give a substantial piece of silver to the college, and these are the pieces that so often build up the collections in the 17th and the 18th centuries.
Okay. 3 years time. Okay. So it doesn't need, in terms of kind of regular, practical question, in terms of regular upkeep, we just need somebody maybe to dust it a little bit.
No, it's just for the beginning, because it needs to settle into this.
It's okay, I'm going to walk away today. And then not take it with us.
And so you get this, the rest of
I have this and in 10 years' time I may have this. It doesn't do anything to it what you bring yourself in there and then.
This Silver Future project is not just a standalone project. We want to encourage more and more colleges across Oxford to really think about what they can do with their silver collections. And I mean, I don't want to encourage them all to melt everything down and change everything, but actually all the colleges will have pieces of unimportant, unloved, damaged silver in their stores, which is doing nothing and will do nothing. And this is a really exciting opportunity, I think, to encourage them to think about commissioning new, more relevant pieces of silver that will engage with college life today and will, importantly, give opportunities to contemporary makers across the country and beyond, and to create new and exciting pieces, not just humdrum kind of off the peg revival pieces, but new, genuinely exciting pieces that will really speak to people in a new and exciting way.
Well, brilliant.